A very good afternoon to you guys for tuning in to enjoy the very best of political analysis, which is what we do best on this program. My name is Shegun Odwayo. The program is the Roundtable, and as it always sounds like every time on our program, we take the very best of political updates happening in our polity. We dissect it, we discuss it, we talk about them, and we prefer solutions. We prefer solutions. That is the very most important thing on this program. Of course, I don't do this alone, or the presenter doesn't do this alone. We always have individuals who are not just brilliant but wonderful and have knowledge as long as politics and the issues in the polity, the issues are concerned. I have two very wonderful persons with me on the show today. One of our most senior persons in the house when it comes to ideas that has to do with politics and politicking is directly seated by my right. His name is Samson Folarin. A very good afternoon to you. And it feels good to have you right here. I have with me to my left, I have Amit Fateh. Fateh, I guess I got that correctly this time around. Good afternoon to you, Amit.
Good afternoon, Chego. How are you doing?
Very great. Of course, we are looking great and wonderful here in the studio in Nigeria, but I can't say the same for our friends, family members, and probably colleagues there in Gabon. Because yesterday morning, while we were waking up in Nigeria, and if you live here in Lagos or in this part of the world, when you wake up, you are looking for what and how to get your next meal. It was not the same for our people and our friends in Gabon because they were waking up to news that the military are taking over. You know what made this funny was that this was not the first or the second or the third military takeover in Africa in recent time. But one thing that they all have on the same stage with them, one thing they all have in common is that the countries that have taken over, that have had their authorities being taken over by the military, are French-speaking countries. I think I want to start with Samson Folarin to my right. Why is this happening in French-speaking African countries alone, as at now?
Well, I think I have a different view. For me, I think it's more of an African problem. Of course, Nigeria, we've had our own share of military coup, just right after independence. So, but for this, for Gabon, Mali,
Niger, Burkina Faso,
Chad, and the rest of them, I think this is just their own time. When you have a culture of impunity, of corruption, of personal enrichment and all of those, which are characterized these governments in these countries that I've mentioned. Of course, there is bound to be this kind of development of military intervention. When I was in school, I was told that there are actually 3 levels of military intervention or military coup happening in the country. There is first the stage of military observation.
Yeah.
They're just like every
look at the mood.
They're just like every member of the country.
Society.
They're just like every citizen. You understand? So after the observation, there is the military suggestion. They try to also come into the polity, to suggest ways of addressing societal problems and issues. But when that fails, that is when you now have the military intervention. I think that's what has happened in this case. It's not something that is just peculiar to them. So it's just very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation.
Very quickly, Amit, and just like other countries, I mean, their colleagues, when it comes to military takeover, we could see people on the streets of Gabon celebrating, jubilating, like the Gabonese military takeover was the next best thing after jollof rice. Is this truly for the happiness of the general public, or did you just see something that was peculiar to only a section of people? It looks like the people are, I'm happy.
We have to understand that the situation in Gabon at the moment is the demand of the people. And personally, I strongly believe that it is what they deserve. Now, you can't have a family continuously ruling a country for 56 years and you still want to retain the same system in this world that we have today. It is not only stupid, it is not only greedy, it is not only being self-centered, but it is much more of being a totalitarian and authoritarian and trying to jeopardize the lives of people about 2.3 million people are the entire population of Gabon as a country. And if, as a family, Gabon is still having about 33% percentage of poor people in the country. I mean, in Lagos State alone, in Nigeria here, we have how many millions of people? Ibadan has a total population that is more than the entire country of Gabon. So if out of 2.3 million people in Gabon, we still have 33% people who are still poor in Gabon, definitely there is something that is wrong with the systems of that is being run in that country and how that country is being run. And definitely school is something that is worth it. The family of Bongo has been ruling that country. I mean, the father of the ousted president led the country for 42 years.
Decades.
For decades, 4 decades and 2 more years. Then the son took over and has used 14 years already. And after they concluded an election that obviously he did not win, he manipulated and
no. I'll excuse that because we are neither the courts nor the electoral body.
Well, we are not. But for the military that took over, Shegun, the military that took over in Gabon, military came out to say that we have nullified the one of the basis of them taking over was the fact that we have nullified the election that took place because that election is not fair, it is not trustworthy. That is why we are nullifying this election and we are taking over the leadership of this country.
Fantastic. Is it in their place? Is it in the place of the military to say we are nullifying this election because we do not think the right things have happened?
It is not in the place of the military to do that.
Of course.
It is just the way it is that we are running an abnormal system in Africa. If there is an election dispute, the right thing to do is to go to the courts. Of course, the court will then decide would then interpret the Electoral Act where it is available. But of course, I think the military came in this situation because they can predict the sequence of events.
So if they've seen how the things have turned out.
Go to court, in fact, they can dare you and say, go to court.
Go to court and let's see what comes out of it.
And then they still know that, of course, the government is in charge. The government determines even the outcome of the electoral process,
out of the court.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's just a situation where the people are helpless and the only savior they have are actually the military.
All right, but very quickly now, Ahmed. Now, Niger told us there was a reason for them to come on board. Okay. Burkina Faso, of course, I'm picking them in no particular order now.
Of course.
Now, these guys, Gabonese military have come out to say we came for the good of the people and the usual rhetorics. The same thing happened with Niger. The same thing happened with Burkina Faso. In fact, their leader there was even taking it to another level.
Even in Mali.
In Mali. Now, the question is, of course, people will always, military guys, more khaki boys will always hide under the people when it comes to grabbing power. But we do not see this happening in other parts of the world. Nobody is grabbing power in France. We have people that are complaining in France. More than once, their president has been slapped in public. The American president, about half of the country do not want him in power. The Canadian president, a prime minister that people thought, he's a man of the people, that was quite popular in this part of the world. If you go to Canada's Twitter, you will be shocked. You'll be wondering, is this not the Canada everybody is talking about? Go to Australia, almost same in the world. But somehow, these guys find a way of walking around their democracy. Shouldn't we, as Africans, walk around our democracy?
Shegun, I love the fact that you are coming from the angle of European giants and you are comparing them to African millipedes. It's just like comparing giants to millipedes or comparing giants to rats. We are in no level to be compared to these people in terms of development, in terms of infrastructures, in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of every normal life amenity that every human has a right to. We are in no, climb to compare ourselves to them.
We shouldn't compare ourselves. Very, very quickly now, is this the norm? Is this the new order of the day? Are we to sit and watch as Africa slides down towards the path of militarism, in quotes?
The truth is that there will be more coups. We should expect it because
That's a prophecy.
look at what is happening in Cameroon, where they have a 90-year-old president. And it's not just the fact that the man is old. The man is embarrassing them in public. The other day he was at the World Summit, and he was not conscious of his environment.
I mean, the guy almost staggered.
You understand? And then you see what is happening even in Rwanda, Paul Kagame. And then because of this situation, he started,
In quotes, he's one of the shining lights of Africa. In quotes,
he's not, because if you're talking about being the shining light of Africa, what are the basis? What are the
Well, I would take exception for Rwanda anyway.
I just said it. His PR is kind of good.
Oh,
I would take exception for Paul Kagame of Rwanda.
This will continue to happen. As long as we have sit-tight presidents, people believe that they can perpetuate themselves and their families in government, this will continue to happen.
Talking about sit-tight, in Pyongyang is not different in North Korea.
Yes.
Anybody who is 70, 80, 50, only one type of leadership. Most South Koreans alive only know one type of leadership under one family.
Yes.
Same can be said for Vladimir Putin in Russia.
Yes.
We all see the progress the Russian government has. The Russian people are probably not particularly rich, but the Russian state is strong. Their resources are strong.
That's correct.
They went to war and the whole world was sneezing because there was cold. I mean, it was catching cold because Russia was sneezing. So,
Of course.
is it because a particular family is ruling or they are not ruling right, or is this the order of the day?
You see, once you don't derive your power from the people, there is bound to be a problem. Once the people you are ruling, they are not benefiting from the government, because, you are talking about Russia and then you're talking about, is it Gabon, or is it, which the standard of living and everything, they are wide apart. So there is a situation where you have people in government enriching themselves and their families. It's not benefiting the people.
The Russian leaders are not enriching their friends and families.
There is anger among the people. And this is not just peculiar to these countries we have mentioned, even in Nigeria. Even in Nigeria, with what is happening in Gabon and all these other French-speaking African countries, it's sending a signal to our leaders that if they don't do the right thing, the people will vote one day.
But
don't be surprised.
What I am saying, Ahmed, quickly, what I am saying is, generally speaking, people of the world at the moment are hungry.
Of course.
Somebody said people are leaving Nigeria for the United Kingdom. British people are leaving Britain for America.
Of course.
Canadians are even leaving their country for Australia. British doctors are emigrating heavily. Go and check the statistics, heavily from their country. So it looks like everybody is running. Even greener pastures are no longer green to the owners of the land.
Course.
They too are also running. But in these places, nobody is taking over and saying, I'm uprooting my prime minister, I'm uprooting my president. We see what is happening in the United Kingdom. But nobody is pushing anybody out with force.
Shegun, when I stated earlier, I said we have 33% people who are living below the line of poverty in Gabon, for example.
I agree.
Can you check the percentage of people living below the line of poverty in the US, in the UK? It is different, my brother. Yesterday, $6.6 million in cash was retrieved by the Gabonese military from the cousin of the president that was ousted. Imagine that huge amount of money in a country that has just 2.3 million citizens.
Very, very quickly now. Of course, AU has come out to say,
yes,
we want a democracy, we do not want this, we
AU.
do not want that. Of course, the African Union. Right home here, we have been dealing with a lot in recent weeks with our neighbors, Niger, and despite the Nigerian president coming out to say, no, we are going to work with AU to ensure democracy, he's not sticking out his neck, of course, probably, maybe because Gabon is not an ECOWAS country, and probably because we also have a lot on our plate and all that. But the question now is, AU, it looks like they're just backing. Because you guys were there, Burkina Faso happened. You were on your seat. Don't stand up, don't stand up. The child stood up. Burkina Faso stood up. Don't stand up, don't stand up. Mali stood up. Don't stand up. About 5 or 6 children now have stood up. If more children continue to stand up, what will that the AU do?
Yeah, well, there's nothing the AU can do than to leave, because these are sovereign countries we're talking about.
Yes.
So they have the right to decide and to determine their own fates.
Yes.
So the AU is just there as a body to, watch and then comment and make. That is what the body is there for. But they cannot do more than they are doing presently. And if you look at what is happening in these countries, you understand there is nobody that, of course, they'll come out to issue statements to condemn, but they also know right inside of them that
this thing is right.
This thing is right. This has to happen. You know, the other day I was reading a tweet from Atiku, from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He was also condemning the coup in Gabon. So you have this kind of statements because they must just do it,
of course,
for political correctness.
Bureaucratic,
you understand?
what's it called?
But they also know that, look, there is nothing they can do beyond the statement, beyond the official statement.
Okay, I will stay with you on this. What happens when in the next decade in Nigeria, in Africa, in Gabon, in Burkina Faso, in Niger, and these guys, the military guys, are probably worse than the guys they said they came to chase?
I'll quickly say
No, I'll come to you.
You see, for that question, this is how I see it. Most times when you have military intervention, and we should learn from history, when you have military intervention in governments, the people who are coming in, they present themselves as the messiah. They tell you they have the solution to all the problems. But then you will discover that they may end up even being worse than the people they are replacing.
I mean, Nigeria, for example.
Look at the Nigerian story. Look at the Nigerian experience. I mean, it was not so bad when we had military intervention. And then...
But other aspects were bad. Human rights was terrible.
Most of
they were trained people.
He was saying before they took over.
The main excuse they had was that Nigeria was being ruled by corrupt politicians. But then after they also had access to the treasury, and then they saw the commerce and we had a lot of money, they became even more corrupt.
The khaki boys became corrupt.
They became more corrupt.
And they wanted to even put themselves in as the guys
exactly.
in democracy.
So you will always have that situation of people coming and saying, no, we are going to help you, we're going to do something, but then nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. So
you are saying there is no hope?
I think we should be optimistic. We should be optimistic that maybe in the next decade or in 2 decades, things will be better.
Change.
Because if very soon, of course, what is happening in Cameroon now cannot continue like that. Something must happen. There must be a change. Change is the only thing that is constant.
All right.
So we can only hope that maybe after military intervention in some of these other places where they are still having sit-tight precedents, that maybe things will be better.
I'll jump to Fatih and we'll end on this. Do you see hope? Do you see hope with military boys taking over?
Shegun, I see hope. I see glimpse of hope from their takeovers across African countries at the moment. Now, this is it. When the military took over in Gabon just a few days, or yesterday when they took over, right? And they've been trying to do a lot of things, do a lot of here and there. You realize that in every country that we have corruption embellished in their system, we need a revolution to uproot that corrupt system. However, immediately that revolution takes place, for example, coup d'etat happens, we need the leaders in Africa. That is why I would agree with Samson what he said earlier, that Africa leaders, they also know that these things that are happening in these countries are needed. They are right and they are necessary. So when these things happen and the military has taken over power, then the African leaders must come together as a matter of urgency to ensure that the power doesn't stay long in the hands of military dictators. Why? Because we have to take example of countries that these things has happened to before. I was reading something yesterday on Washington Post, and I read about this African country. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember right now. The man has been there for 28 years now. He's a military ruler in this same Africa that we have. He's a military president in Africa at the moment. And what he has done to the country is even more evil than those he took the country from, who was his own brother or cousin thereabout. I was just laughing. I mean, so we must put in place a kind of situation whereby African leaders come together to ensure that power does not stay too long in the hands of military rulers. I said I'll take exception for Rwanda president earlier when you mentioned him. Rwanda president.
Amin,
Shegun, just 2 minutes.
Trust me. I know I know you want to hit into this, but we have quite.
If Rwanda president is not doing something right, the people would be crying out in Rwanda. Rwanda is one of the best tourism countries in the world today.
I said it earlier that the PR of Rwanda
is fantastic.
However, we must move on. We must move on. We must move on. We must move on. Guys, it shows you the kind of temperature we are having in the studio right now, especially when it comes to such an issue that is quite unbecoming, but is becoming the norm. When we talk about leadership in Africa and politics on the continent. They say the gun is Africa, the trigger is Nigeria. So we have to come down home now and talk about what is happening in our country. In my own country, Nigeria, your own country, Nigeria, we have a democracy in place. We do not have military rule here. And very recently, the new president formed his cabinet, and he was charging his ministers to bring renewed hope to the people. Like his party and his campaign manifestos were based upon. Of course, new ministers, about 46, 47 of them or thereabout. And in the first few days of having these ministers on board, of course, many of them have been moving around, taking the press everywhere they go, making statements. Somebody wants to pull millions out of poverty. Another person is telling he's going to fix all the roads. The interior minister is also saying that the Nigerian passport is something that will be fixed in the... everybody looks like they are trying to break a record. Are we having the right mood in Nigeria right now?
You see, whatever they are doing now is what we call the initial gaga. It's like initial gaga.
You do not think...
To impress the president, that look, you've appointed the right person to man this position. Just like Wike the other day, just immediately after the inauguration and everything, and then he was
the first minister to have the press conference.
And the president, look, if you built your house without the right approval,
I'm bringing it down.
They started demolishing places in Abuja already.
Yeah, so I don't really think that anything will come out of all of this. It's a Nigerian situation, except we have a president that is always on the toes of his ministers and telling them that whatever the promises that I made to the electorate, he must make sure those promises are fulfilled. Except to have a president that is ready to always grant press conference. Hold a meeting with the press to answer questions. Except to have a president that is ready to be accountable and responsible. If we don't have that, nothing will happen. All the ministers, after the initial will go to sleep. And then it will just be the normal business. It will be business as usual.
As usual to the boys. Now, of the 47 guys we've had, some were talking tough. Everybody was acting brand new. But which ones amongst them have caught your eye? Or are they on the same level? Is this the initial grad 2, IGG?
Well, for me, I would take exception to Wike, sincerely. Okay. And I would take exception to Bosun Tijani of the communication and digital economy. So, if you look at Wike, Wike has an antecedent of doing
there are many guys with antecedents in that team.
Of course, I'm not saying there are not many.
So why Wike? That's my question.
Yeah, because when they appointed them, when they saw them last Monday, Wike was almost as if he didn't attend the swearing ceremony. Wike was the first minister to hold a press conference and stated out clearly, these are the things that we want to do. And immediately he stated that you see that work started. A market was demolished just a few days ago. People were shouting and crying. He said, see, come here. This market is built on a green area. You can't have markets in a green area where we are meant to have plants and trying to sustain our climate. He demolished it. Now, this is telling you that this person is going to still use the same Wike that we knew when he was running the first time and second time in Rivers State, doing excessive project. Look at the rail line in Abuja. The president even mentioned it at the NBA conference just a few days ago, that he wants to ride this rail line. So that tells you, and that was one of those first things he addressed in the press conference, that he is going to reinvigorate the rail line. So this tells you that this is someone who wants to bring back something. Yes, a lot of people said it is going to be another El-Rufai as a minister of the FCT. I mean, it is fantastic if you have another El-Rufai as minister of FCT. What we have in Abuja today is as a result of the strict implementation of certain laws that El-Rufai put in place when he was FCT minister. That is that
so for
Wike.
you, Wike and Bosun Tijani.
But for Bosun Tijani,
Okay.
right? I feel that he's a young guy, a young person who is obviously.
So you are buying the young guy ticket, not necessarily you've seen anything.
No, that I'm trying to come from a perspective. You get my angle very soon, Chegun.
Okay.
So, Bosun Tijani is a young person. The energy is there, the strength is there to do run around and do things. And since Monday when they've been appointed as president, he has been
as minister.
As minister rather, he has been working. Having meetings, consultations, what's it called? Several meetings to ensure that, okay, then I feel that he's also someone who would want to listen to people because obviously the kind of criticism that followed his emergence as minister.
You just said he was working. You've not given us instances.
Yes, instances.
You gave us instances in Wiki.
Instances in Wiki. Then Bosun Tijani has come out to release data asking Nigerians to come and give them ideas on how they could work on.
That's working to you.
Yeah, of course it is working. I mean, okay, what do we compare him to someone like Bayade Labu that came from my state that has not done anything, just resuming on this Monday when he has been sworn in since last week Monday? Do you compare the two of them together? You can't compare them; they're incomparable. I mean,
it's early days. It's early days.
No, I mean,
let me
move
over. In the early minutes, in the early days of these guys coming in as ministers, who do you think is trying to? I know you said it's initial grab, but after we put them all in the sun and then they enjoy the sun, you'll be able to see certain symptoms in the ones that are sick or that are not feeling too well. But who do you think, which ones amongst them?
Well, I think it is still a bit too early to begin to assess them and to begin to say, okay, this is going to do better, this one will not do better. But I mean, looking at the ministers, I think I will agree with him on Bosun Tijani because the youthfulness, the energy, and everything is there. And he has been
energy, but I do has energy. Bomitunji Ojo has energy.
Well, I think Bosun Tijani, particularly because he has also been putting all his activities out there for people to see.
But many of them have been doing day to day.
And then even give him information,
advice that needs
help him, which is very.
Or is it because he was once a critic?
Well, it's also possible. Okay. And then the way he also emerged as minister with all the criticism,
controversial
that surrounded his emergence.
He wants to prove himself.
So exactly. So I think he has shown promise, and we can give him benefit of the doubt.
Very, very quickly, we'll move on to the very next topic, and this is still talking about Nigeria, of course, the trigger of Africa, and one of the states that has one of the biggest IGRs, internally generated revenue in Nigeria. And many of the members of that state have been saying so well that these guys are not doing enough with the money they are making as internally generated revenue. These guys' proximity to the capital of the country when it comes to the economy of the country, they are not doing as well as they are meant to do. And these guys can do far, far more than they are doing. The roads in the state of this person is not doing too well. People in this place should not be poor. They should be rich. People living in this place should be living on a certain level and are not living on a certain level. That has been the case for a few years now. But yesterday, I think it became worse because there was a video where persons that were said to be chairmen of various local governments were prostrating in beggarly fashion to the governor of the state. I'm talking of no other person than the Ogun State Dokpo, or the Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun. There was a viral video that was everywhere yesterday of people that were said to be chairmen and women, I guess, of local governments begging him, and they are pleading, and they all went traditional. They prostrated. I saw one or two females also kneeling down, and the cameramen were clicking away, probably not trying to miss that moment. We have someone here with me that will be helping us dissect the situation, and I'm still here with Ahmed Fateh, but joining us is Femi Morgan. Femi, good afternoon. You are coming on as a very powerful sub in football. It's called substitution, and usually when the person that comes on board, you expect him to bring in new energy and vigor. Straight to this topic, I know it interests you so much. The chairman of local government was said to have prostrated and begged Ogun State Governor yesterday. Sorry, maybe not yesterday, but the video went viral yesterday.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that video?
If we are in a proper democracy, one would say that a local government would have a level of autonomy to say, Mr. Governor, this is our demand, this is our position. Even if the local government chairman were wrong, they will be able to say, Mr. Governor, we were wrong. Simple and straightforward. But in a situation where we have a warped, problematic democracy, where the local government does not have any sort of economy, physical, structural, legislative economy, they are the beck and call of the governor. What do you expect of a local government of such? And then you also know that the SEC, the state electoral commissions, are in the pockets of the governors. So these local government chairmen were picked by the party, are minions of the party, and the governor is the head of that party.
In that state?
In the state. So what do you expect of a governor?
Than to prostrate? Than for him to be prostrated towards?
Yes, but when we live in a proper democracy, and when we have proper structures, then we can have more of a Wale Adedayo saying, Mr. Governor, statutorily I deserve this, and I need to deliver to my people. I need to tar their roads. I need to make their primary health systems work. I made promises to my people.
I campaigned like you campaigned.
I campaigned like they campaigned. They know where I live in that community. That means there are many local government chairmen that don't live in their local governments.
Maybe in Lagos too.
In many states, including Lagos, in many places. But when you are a local government chairman that lives in that environment, you will feel the pain more. And it will pain you when people say, local government chairman, see, you campaign, you told us that you're going to do this, and then you are not doing it. But the local government chairman knows the pain because
he's part of them.
The monies that are supposed to transit to the local government to work is not working. The local government is not working, the state is not working. If the local governments don't work, the state is not going to work because the state is comprised of local governments.
Very quickly, Ahmed, that video caused so much controversy yesterday. There were arguments for and against, but I think mostly against. Was anything wrong with that video?
Everything
because
is
it
wrong
was a
with that
video that was less than 15 seconds. Just people.
Everything is wrong with that video.
Why?
There is no situation that warrants grown men with children, with wives at home, prostrating to a fellow grown man with wife and children at home.
But they say it's politics.
Because
many things happen.
He is a governor or he's a president or whatever he might claim himself to be.
What of if there was no clip? Do you know how many prostrations go down?
I do not know.
In private, rather.
That's what I'm saying. It is wrong. And the problem is because local government in Nigeria generally, like Morgan stated, has been left at the, what's it called? The mercy of state governors. Now, in the past, we used to have local government getting funds directly from the federal government without a third party, being the state government now, being involved. Now, these monies are allocations that are meant for the development of local government across the country. Now, in some few years ago, we started having governors going behind the scene to ensure that those monies come directly to the state government. Then they determine the money is going to the local government. Yeah. And the problem was when they started creating LCDs in some states, but also failing
at the beginning of the Fourth Republic.
Yes, at the beginning, failing to get local government chairman elected in state. Some states, governors would come into power. The first 2-3 years tenure, they would not have any local government chairman in any local government across the state. Now, if federal allocation is coming to local government in each state, the federal government has know where the money is going to be sent. It is definitely going to go to the state government. Then you leave the local government chairman at the mercy of the state government. That will say that this problem is not even a problem of the governor himself, who is already not a governor that is that is reputable enough to be even considered to on any front. Now this same person, the federal government in all states in Nigeria should find a way to cut out the intervention of state government to the dealings between the federal government and the local government. Immediately we have this removed, then we would see that, number one, we would have proper implementation, proper and effective workings in our local government across the country. Someone was saying earlier, I think it was Morgan, that said that he visited 2 public health center in a particular state I don't want to mention recently.
In Ogun State. Let's not lie to ourselves.
So imagine
this state, Ogun State, is not working.
It's a problem.
Very quick question.
It's a problem.
Very quick question to you both. Please, 10 seconds. I mean, Femi Morgan, 10 seconds. If you are one of those guys yesterday, I mean, whatever day that happened, but in that viral video, would you have gone on your knees? Will you have portrayted to the governor as a local government chairman?
Why I did that your option? Because I'm responsible to the people. I want the people to know exactly what's happening. I want the people to know why I'm not performing. Like I was saying, I went to
10 seconds.
I went to 2 primary health centers.
Yeah.
I will not mention the local government. In Ogun State, it's in shambles.
But we have many health centers are in shambles.
Wrote a story,
an investigative story
about schools built by Amosun, laboratories and everything.
I remember that story.
Those schools,
I remember that story.
Are climbing on the schools in Ogun State.
Yeah, I think as a journalist, if as a journalist in Ogun State, you cannot run out of stories.
You can never run out of stories.
I know this for sure. I know. You can't say you're tired.
Is it electricity? Is it water? Is it roads?
Yeah, it's enough. Very quickly now, Fatih, if you were there yesterday, chairman, honorable chairman Fatih, will you go on your knees?
On a normal day, I don't even prostrate to my own father.
No, that's not the question. The question
I wouldn't have prostrated to anybody. That's what I'm telling you. I would not. I don't prostrate to my father. Why would I prostrate to a governor? No matter who he is, I'm still saying it. We are in a democratic setting, right? We are in a
governor is not a monarch.
He's not a monarch. Even a monarch.
10 seconds. 10 seconds is over.
Come on.
Very quickly over to
Come
the very
on.
next topic. Before we round off and we leave, there was controversy earlier this week as well when former governor, current minister Nyesom Wike, his name was found in the committee, the campaign committee of both the PDP, the chief opposition party, and the ruling APC. I'll start with Femi Morgan. Is this the true definition of God bless PDAPC?
I think Wike is an interesting personality. Wike captured his state.
Captured?
Yes, that's the word. Captured the state. There was a time the current president of Nigeria was governor of Lagos State. And after a while, he captured Lagos State. What do I mean by that? All the political structures in Lagos State came under him. You know, there was a time he did that. That exactly has happened in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. He has captured Rivers State. He has Rivers State.
No, the question is,
and Rivers State is a rich state. It's a rich state. Apart from the revenue, you get 13% derivation and other things. So he has his governor, he has his state assembly, he has his
party or parties.
He has his party.
What party?
Parties,
what? Please.
All in Rivers State.
Wike's name was found in the APC and the PDP list.
So now, Wike helped our dear president win that state. He had always argued that he would prefer to have a southern president. He had always hammered on it. While he was in PDP, he wanted the PDP to
he's still in PDP.
Okay, he's still in PDP.
He's a card-carrying member of the PDP.
When he was, what would I
active
say?
In the PDP.
When he was active in this PDP, he and his group said, southern president or nothing.
Nothing.
And so when that did not happen, and they were not properly placated, he put his money where his mouth is and coasted home with Tinubu.
To victory.
Yes. If you look at him, he's is a very interesting personality.
So why is he as is officially I don't have pictures or videos of anywhere he has officially joined.
A PDP man.
Yeah, but he's in the both lists, and he has also come out to say.
You know why?
He has also come out to say, suspend me if you can.
You know why
if you
it's
have the
difficult
balls.
to suspend Wike? PDP will be campaigning in those states. The party does not have money. The party runs its money from the states. The state governors are the fathers of the party. So how would you get the support of Rivers State?
So
without
who would the Wike be supporting in Bayelsa?
I don't know.
Now over to you, Ahmed Fatih. Wike in APC list, Wike in PDP list.
I think the first question we should ask ourselves is who is the party chairman of APC in Rivers and who is the party chairman of PDP in Rivers State? That's the first question we should ask ourselves.
I think they are both his people.
Now, you have to understand that at the moment, Wike, unofficially, is the party leader of APC in Rivers State and is, of course, the party leader of PDP in Rivers State. Why, if you might ask me? In every state, by appointment, the minister is even more, they would push a minister
from the states.
What's it called? From a state.
Yes.
When we have exactly we push the minister
so, from the state.
Now, Wike is an APC minister, is a PDP member who is an APC minister from Rivers State, meaning that as the federal structure is concerned, Nyesom Wike is the most superior APC member in Rivers State.
Yeah, he's the leader.
You understand? Being a minister under the APC government, Wike is, like, if you want to look at the Nigerian system and how it works, right? Wike is the leader of APC in Rivers State. And of course, as opposition party, it doesn't matter. And of course, the leader of the PDP in Rivers State. Let me quickly tap from what Morgan said earlier.
The person picked by the president into the NDDC position from Rivers State was said to be
Delta.
No, for Rivers.
Oh yes,
from Rivers.
From Rivers. Yeah. The other guy.
Yes, was said to be someone who is loyal to Wike, a PDP man.
When I told you that Wike has captured Rivers State, you were looking at me. Like
I was not looking. I just wanted you to explain.
The man has captured the state. He has captured the state. If you want to have anything to do in Rivers, go is like a god now. Just carry your calabash of propitiation or what would you use and put it before Wike. Wike, how do we go about it in your state? If you can't do anything in that state without a Wike factor,
you will realize what Morgan is saying when President Bola Tinubu decided to move with who he moved with during the election. If Bola Tinubu had gone ahead with Toyekol or Magdos Abbey, do you think he would have come out victorious? He wouldn't have come out in Rivers State. He wouldn't have come out victorious. Why? Because Wike is the constituted authority, in the voice of my former governor, Governor Bola Ajimobi. May God may so rest in peace. Is the constituted authority of Rivers State. Now, when we have his name in both APC and PDP, it tells you one thing. It tells you that this is the person that will make the decision for these people. He will be the one to make the decisions for them.
Wow.
He will be the one to tell you that, okay, this is where to go and this is where not to go. Not forget that Wike came second during the PDP presidential primaries that led to the, what's it called? To Abubakar Atiku becoming the presidential candidate of the People Democratic Party in a primaries that was keenly contested and was claimed to be ridden with a lot of manipulative acts that led to...
No, they'll be clean.
So now, Wike would not in any way back down on what he's doing.
I think it's official to just say he came second.
Of course.
All right, no,
of course.
Sadly, we do not have all day to discuss this. It has been a very wonderful time here on the round table, and indeed the table has been round because I started with Ahmed Fatih to my left and Samson Folarin To my right, we talked about Gabon and the military crisis that has engulfed that state, that country, and how it is affecting Francophone Africa. Then we moved over to the new commissioner, I beg your pardon, the new ministers in Nigeria and the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the readiness and the attitude of the new ministers, and which ones are acting like they are ready for the job and are doing fantastically well or well in their first few days in office. And then we moved over to Dapo Abiodun and the viral video of local government chairman prostrating to him. That was when Femi Morgan did come on board, and we are rounding off with Nyesom Wike on the PDP and the APC Bayelsa Gubernatorial Campaign Committee. And I asked, is it truly God bless PDAPC? It has been a very wonderful time here on the show. In the last 2 minutes, I just quickly captured what we had been talking about on the program, and I've mentioned the names of every person who was with me on the program. On the other side of the camera, we have had a very fantastic crew working assiduously to ensure that the progress of this show was truly held in high esteem. My name is Shegun Odunayo, signing off, saying have yourselves a fantastic Thursday and a glorious weekend coming in. Next week, Thursday, God willing, we'll be here to give you the very best on the Roundtable. Have a fantastic day.